Steve, I can't believe we're already more than halfway through season 2.
Amazing. It really is.
It is. I mean, it's been such a blast going back through all these episodes and talking with the folks who were there and the ones who made it happen. Now, we got a lot more coming up to finish out season 2. Next week, John Ventimiglia, who played Artie Bucco. The week after that, we have Louis Lombardi, who played the FBI agent Skip Lipari. Then, David Proval, who plays the evil Richie Aprile. And we will finish out season 2, the great episode Funhouse, with the one and only Vinny Pastore, a.k.a. Big Pussy.
Big Pussy. And for season 3, coming up, we're going to have the great Aida Totoro, who played my wonderful loyal wife, Janice, on the show. Catherine Narducci, who was Charmaine Bucco, Artie Bucco's wonderful wife. The great Peter Bogdanovich, a legendary director, and he also played Melfi's therapist. Jackie Aprile Jr., played by the great Jason Sabone, coming up, and probably one of the greatest episodes in TV history, Pine Barrens. The great director, actor, Steve Buscemi will be joining us. We got all that coming up and more. Plus, we're going to have a few writers, directors, some more crew members. So please stay with us, tune in, and don't forget, go to TalkingSopranos.com and click on merchandise. We're selling a lot of great stuff. So see you soon. Thanks for sticking with us. Stay low, my friends. How are you?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm all right. So this episode, right? This is the first one you wrote, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. It's one of the funniest, if not the funniest, of the 86 episodes. It's bizarre. It's hilarious. It's serious. And I'm not kidding you. I enjoyed it. I mean, of course, I saw it many years ago. I enjoyed it tremendously. I'm looking at it at a different viewpoint now that we're doing this. And it's just so good, you know, really.
Yeah. Thank you. I haven't seen it, I mean, maybe in, I don't know, 20 years. And I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I was kind of surprised how far out there it was compared to a lot the other shows up until now, you know, the other episodes. But, you know, it was an effort really to explore how these guys, these mob guys, see and deal with the karmic repercussions of their actions, you know, in light of Catholicism and what that means. Do they believe in heaven and hell? Do they fear that? Do they think about it? I don't know if I discovered anything through the writing of it. I don't know if, you know, I don't know if they think about it in actuality. Do they think about these things? I'm not really sure, but I got to write some funny stuff for Paulie Walnuts.
Funny stuff. But I got to tell you, I first of all, what you're saying, I absolutely, positively think not just mob guys, people in general, especially as they're getting older. I see it with people I know.
What about with you?
What about me? Listen, we talked about it a few weeks ago, what I believe and what I don't. I believe in being a good person.
Right.
I consider myself a pretty good fucking guy. I don't hurt people intentionally. I mean, you know, I certainly intentionally don't, you know, fuck somebody over or do anything like that. When I was younger, did we do all the silly things that you do, you know, steal shit, do silly stuff like that? I've never intentionally hurt anyone. I just try to be a good guy. I've helped, as you know, a lot of people in different capacities. I think I'm a pretty good father. I just try to be a good fucking guy. I don't break the law.
But do you do that? Do you do that because you just feel like that's what you should do as a human being, or do you do that in terms of thinking about the the next life or the afterlife?
No. I just do it. I think that's what you should do as a human being.
Right.
I don't think, because I'm not positive where you go from here. And I know there's
nobody is.
But there's people that have been on the other side and they see the light, like you said in this episode. You see the tunnel. There's been people that have actually gone there. Our friend Joe Scarpinino, who we love, who last year was in a coma, he said he saw his father he said things that, he was over there. I don't know. I mean, I believe him. I don't think he's lying. I don't know. Is it a dream and not a dream? There's been so many things about the afterlife. I mean, you can't poo-poo it like it doesn't exist. But I see people, and just like in this episode, Paulie has been making donations and stuff, like almost as an insurance policy. Yes. I'm going to take care of the priest. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because when it comes my time, I'm going to go to heaven.
It's going to balance off the negative things that he's done in some ways.
Of course, now you're talking mob guys who murder people, which is probably it is the ultimate sin. I don't care what religion you're in. We're not talking about, stealing a pack of cigarettes or a pack of gum from a grocery store. We're talking about that now.
Taking a life, yeah.
I see a lot of people that bad business practices, the shitty people, suddenly in the home stretch, the back nine here, they're suddenly there in their 60s, their 70s, they found religion. You go every Sunday. There's also a lot of people that go to church every Sunday and then they motherfuck people all week long and screw them over. Am I right?
Of course. I mean, there's lots of that. I mean, are you afraid of death?
Nah, I don't think so.
Not necessarily. That's good.
I don't know.
That's really good.
I'm not afraid of death, but maybe, no, I'm going to miss my kids and who's going to watch out for my wife and my kids and that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Right. That stuff more than, it is what it is. I've lived a pretty good life.
It is what it is.
I've been very lucky. I've done okay, whatever that means. And I've had a lot of fun. So I don't know, but the episode is funny. It's very, very funny. Actually hilarious. Paulie is wonderful in it. Tony Sirico.
Yeah, he is.
You're great in it. Edie Falco is great in it.
Yeah.
There's some wonderful scenes. The one scene with Melfi and Tony is great, which we'll get into. And another thing that people now let me ask you something. So you're on this and you got credited alone as the writer.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, there's a writer's room. Some shows, a lot of people out there don't know. At the beginning of the season, they have 5 writers, and they say you're going to write 4, and you're going to write 3, and you're going to write 2. Go write them and come back. And of course, they get notes.
Right. But before that, there's what's broken down is the arc of the season, the different storylines that they're exploring. Before you go off and write, I mean, this script was kind of its own thing because I wrote it as a spec script after season 1. We shot season 1 and I fell in love with the show. I fell in love with all the characters. I had already been writing. I started writing around not long after I started acting. I just never finished anything. Oh. So by the time I was 30, I had literally a stack of half a screenplay, half a play, novel, just crap. Unfinished and junk.
Not unlike Christopher.
Yeah. And I realized, I said, you're more in love with the idea of being a writer than the actual, you don't really have anything to say. So I took all that shit and I used to bring I used to move once a year and I would bring all that shit with me. And one day I threw it all away, all of it. I carried some of that shit around for 10 years, threw it all in the garbage. And somehow it cleared my head in a way, and then I started working on Summer of Sam with Victor Colicchio because he had the original idea for that screenplay. As I realized, okay, I understand what we can say through this story, and that changed everything. And then I wrote a couple of the screenplays that didn't get made, but then this happened. We shot the season, fell in love with it, and I wrote this spec script. And the spec script was Christopher ODs. And then all this afterlife stuff happens. And I gave it to David between season 1 and 2. And I invited him to the Summer of Sam premiere because that came out in 99. And David said, I like what you wrote. He said, I'm planning on Christopher getting shot so we can use all this afterlife stuff. I did not go into the writer's room. I don't know if we were already shooting. I don't remember why, or I did later on in the production. But in the writer's room, they'll break out, okay, 13 episodes. This is kind of a general storyline of Tony and of Carmela and of the Wise Guys or whatever. Then you kind of start breaking it down. Okay, in episode 1, and usually every episode has an A story, a B story, and a C story. And, you know, you'll break in the writer's room, you'll outline it together with the other writers, or just one writer with David.
Oh, you will. So
Yeah.
you had, so even though
I didn't with this episode.
Okay. What do you say your spec script that you turned in, how much do you think wind up being used?
Quite a bit, actually.
75%, 80%?
Maybe, because the A story really is Christopher and the afterlife and the stuff with Paulie, all that stuff was in. Obviously, the stuff with hunting down Matt Bevilacqua, that wasn't in there. The vasectomy wasn't in there. So those were storylines that David had broken, and then he gave them to me. And then you go off with an outline and write a first draft, and then you get notes, and then you write, a second draft. So, and I was really, really excited to do this. I had never written for television, and I had to learn a little bit too. Robin Green was very helpful to me in the beginning because she just taught me about concision, and it's an hour or less, so things have to be really concise. It's not like a movie where it's 2 hours and scenes can be a lot long. It has to move. You have 3 storylines. You're playing with those. She was really good. She was really helpful.
Well, she was once a teacher.
I didn't know
a writing professor. Sure, absolutely.
And David was very helpful. Well,
that's it's a very difficult thing to do, man.
Oh God, yeah.
It's really, people go, you hear people all the time, I'm going to write a sitcom. My life is a sitcom. My family, are you kidding me? We got together. My Uncle Louie's the funniest fucking guy. But you know how hard it is? It's really hard. It's much harder than acting.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's different. I mean, the thing is with acting, you get a script, so you generally know what you're going to do. With writing, it's the blank page, and that's scary. But what's weird is there's Christopher who wants to be a writer, and Michael who's writing, who's on the show, and there's references to Christopher referencing Goodfellas, and Michael was in Goodfellas, and he, there's throughout the show, there's that interplay.
There's a mirror, sure. Let me ask you something. In the episode earlier, when Christopher throws out all his writing,
right? Did
you tell someone that you had done that?
I don't think so.
I
think that's kind of common. I think writers do that.
Wow, but you did it. But that's something.
I did it, and then I wound up writing 5 of these episodes, Sopranos. Later on, I would go more in the writer's room, and there were times when I was at the beginning, before production began, breaking stories, and I wrote a couple other I got hired by Harvey Weinstein and Bob Weinstein to adapt 2 novels. But I'm most proud of this, and Andy has a better version of this. This is the novel Perfume Burned His Eyes, which was published by Akashic Books in 2018. It's a coming-of-age story set in New York in the 70s, and Lou Reed is one of the characters.
Yeah, I read it. It's great. You sent me one.
And I'm working on adapting it for film right now. And then there's this. This is the same publisher, the Nicotine Chronicles. This comes out in September. And it's an anthology of short stories edited by Lee Child, who created the Jack Reacher series. And this is the themes, they all deal with nicotine or tobacco. They've done the Heroin Chronicles, the Cocaine Chronicles. This is my first short story being published. And it's kind of a magical realist allegory about colonialism set in the Caribbean.
I didn't understand one fucking thing you just said, but
magic. It's kind of like Twilight Zone-y, set in,
Why do you say that in the first place? Well, congrats to you. Congrats to you. And if you don't have that, if the people out there don't have that book, you should. It's a really good read, and you should.
The novel's it's kind of in the last year, kind of a cult following. The book has amassed over the last year. I've also done a lot of live readings of it, where I'll read sections and play different roles from it in clubs in New York and LA, and I did it in Europe. The book was published in French and Italian. I think it did best in France. The French edition was the best maybe the best-selling edition.
Yeah, well, they should. If you guys haven't had a chance to get it, you should. It's a great read. I enjoyed it tremendously. Now, the one thing that I say before we move on, about the actors and the writing. Listen, let's really break it down. The actors read words or recite words written to them by someone else.
Right.
And they try to make it as realistic as they can.
Right.
That's it. I'm going to cut all the bullshit out, the actory fucking stuff, and all these people that are, to me, a lot of, not all, are faking it. But you write it, I'll fucking say it like we did it in Hungry Ghosts and like I've done on in your episodes here. You write it, I'll say it as realistic. I'm not inventing the wheel. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not fucking curing cancer. I'm saying the words that you wrote. And that's why I believe and I've told you this, a lot of actors think way too much of them fucking selves. And take themselves way too serious about doing the fucking work of God or whoever they think they're doing. You listen to some of them. I don't want to mention names here. You listen to some of them, they're pontificating. And they're
I understand. But, the skill of acting, when it's done right and it's done well, it's very, it really touches people. Listen, when you go see a movie that blows you away, usually it's the performance that really grabs you. You walk away, say, God, he was so good. She was so great in that movie. You don't walk away and say, what a well-written movie.
Yes, you do.
Well,
I think sometimes
that's not
really
always.
do.
I don't think that's always the first. Of course, it's there, but I think it's the performances that really deliver. They're the delivery system. Those those stars. That's why, like Hollywood. When you think of Hollywood, the first thing you think of is the movie stars.
No, of course. And I'm not. Listen, if everyone could act, everyone would be acting. Everyone wants to be. Not everyone, but a lot of people want to be actors.
No, and a lot of people, and there's a lot of bad acting, and I think a lot of people kind of overlook bad acting. Especially when people are celebrities or, even that they've been acting a while and people just get used to their personalities. But I mean, look at something like Gandolfini, right? You have when a phenomenal role, a huge role, right? It's a big role that's over a big chunk of the show, over a big chunk of time, and a great role and a great actor come together, and it like defines an era. I mean, it's if you have a great actor in someone like Jim in not a good movie, you're probably not going to be that impressed. It's like taking a Ferrari. It's like taking Secretariat and have him trotting down a little trail instead of him running in the Belmont Stakes. You know what I mean?
No. I agree. Like I said, I'm not saying it's easy. And I'm just saying it's sometimes I think a lot of actors take themselves way too fucking serious, whether they really mean it in their soul or they're just, it's another character they're playing in an interview. Because sometimes you're watching an interview on a talk show, whatever, you're going, oh, let this fucking guy take a hike here. You just did a movie about blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying.
I think also actors have to protect themselves because sometimes actors are not given, on the set I'm talking about, enough respect sometimes. Sometimes people take it for granted what you're doing and
Well, of course they do. Listen, I'm an actor. I've been acting for 20 years. I've been making a living for 20 years. I've been on 3 fantastic series, blah, blah, blah. I take the acting serious. I just don't think, I'm doing God's work. I don't think I'm fucking There's a lot bigger fish to fry. Work. Well, some people think they are. You talk to some guys. You listen to them, and you're going, "Oh, I can't listen."
Like who? Who are you talking about specifically? You don't want to mention any names. You usually don't have a problem mentioning names. So that's okay.
Because I've been, I don't want to go on another rant because after a while, I have a list of people I don't like a mile fucking long. Wow. And if I keep bringing them up, it doesn't mean anything. It's like when you yell at somebody too much.
No, I understand. And I mean, nobody really comes off the top of my head. But I think there's that people in all walks of life. I think, you get that in. Hey,
when I played basketball in college, and I'm not kidding you see these guys come in and they got the brand new sneakers, I'm going back. brand new sneakers and the socks and the thing and the wristbands, and you're going, wow, this guy must be able to fucking play. And here I am with $2 gym shorts, ripped things, holes in my fucking sneakers, and I beat his ass in. You know, you got those posers. And you know, even now when you go on an audition, in the waiting room, you got all these actors, and a lot of them are talking about what they just did, and they're talking loud, and they want everyone to hear. And I want to shoot myself in the fucking head because a lot of the people are just full of shit there. And they're talking loud. I'm trying to concentrate in the corner, and they're talking about this and that, what I've done and getting it. And you've been there. You've seen it.
No, I've seen it. And you know what I realized too? And this follows what you're saying. And I've worked with, you know, some of the best actors there are in film and in television and theater or whatever. You know, there's only one you know what I mean? Whoever it is, give me a name. They can't do what I can do, and I can't do what they can do. So I've never really been intimidated by another actor. I just never felt like, you know, even when I was young, none of that ever intimidated me. You know, it's just like, I just have to do my part as best as I can do it. And nobody could do better. I mean, nobody could have done Bacala better than you. Nobody could have done Christopher better than me. I don't care who it is. I
agree 1,000%. You know, when I first started, I was just starting to get some bit parts. And I was in Santa Monica. I was living in Vegas at the time. And I was starting to get some stuff. And I went to read for a movie of, I think, a pit boss maybe in Vegas, you know, which I was obviously perfectly right for. And when I go into to the waiting room, you know, waiting to go in to read, I see all these actors that I recognize. I think Richard Portnow was there, who's one of the best character actors that ever existed. All these guys, I'm going, fuck, I know, what the fuck chance do I have? And I wind up talking to MC Gainey. You know who MC Gainey is?
No.
Oh, he's been in 100 movies. Big fucking guy. I don't know how tall he is. Big guy. If you've seen him, you would know who it is. And we're talking just small talk, waiting. And I said, I got no fucking chance here. I mean, look at all of you guys. I'm going to go up against you for this. And he said exactly what you said. Nobody could do what you do.
No. And I'll tell you this. Here's another thing. The best actors are the easiest to work with that I've found. Like John Voight, who may be one of the top 3 actors I've ever worked with. The easiest to work with. The most fun, the most professional. Was playing just like it was fun. So, you know,
I've worked with Matt Damon. Matt Damon is terrific. Same kind of thing. Nobody taking anything too serious. And then you'll work with a guy who's a day player or, you know, on a show. He's a series regular and he acts like a douche. You know what I mean? He makes you uncomfortable. I mean, one thing on The Sopranos, whenever there was a guest star come in, everyone made him feel at home. Nobody.
No.
Except for when I was on and you made me feel a little shitty because you.
Well, you might have deserved it, Steve. I don't know. But you know, listen, I didn't have lines with you. We weren't doing a scene together. I don't know if I knew what you were doing there. What do I know? You didn't say nothing to me. I don't know.
I said, hello. Nice to meet you.
And I said, yeah.
You gave me like a fish.
I did not.
You gave me a fish
hand. Get the fuck out of here.
Look, you gave me like a pay no mind.
Maybe I needed to put you on, on edge a little bit. You know who one time I got to rehearse with Anthony Quinn, who's, I mean, that's a legend. That's just greatness. It was Jungle Fever. He played John Turturro's father. And Spike likes to rehearse before he shoots, not on set, like weeks before going into production. And Turturro couldn't make the rehearsal, so Spike asked me to come and rehearse with Anthony Quinn and Frank Vincent. It was me, Anthony Quinn, and Frank Vincent. And I mean, I was a little bit in awe of Anthony Quinn, that's for sure. But it's like easy, the ease, because he's so comfortable with himself and generous and embodies what he's doing. It was effortless almost.
Well, because they're also secure with themselves and what they do. I work with Peter Falk. I work with Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro. Easy, polite, friendly enough. Everybody does. Everyone has a process of working. So it's not like, well, you guys must have had a ball on the set. You're laughing. Everybody does what they do. I'm not that guy running around cracking jokes, doing pranks. I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. But those people that are secure on what they're doing, what they're supposed to do, those are the easiest. It's some schmuck that is a day player or a guest star. He comes in with this pompous fucking attitude. You see it all the time. I want to gouge
they're insecure.
my eyes out of my fucking head with some of them. I hear
gouge their eyes out of their head.
I want to gouge something.
This episode is directed by Henry Bronktine, who was our guest, and I think he does a wonderful job. I'll point out some of the moments where I really think he hit it. The last thing I'll say, the writing of this script, most of it was done really late at night. Either at the bar when we owned, my wife and I owned a bar in Chelsea. I'd read it I'd go down around 1 in the basement, and I'd stay till after they closed. Or
you were drinking?
I may probably not too much. You can't drink,
No,
you can't write and be drunk.
No.
But I'd listen to late night talk radio in New York, which Joey Reynolds was on late at night, and Al Gordon. These very wacky talk shows with weird guests, but I don't really write at night much anymore. I'm usually more of a day, but this one was written in the wee hours. We'll say that.
Now, did you come up with this name?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
From Here to Eternity.
Wow. And it was, when you say it's way out there, it's out there, but it's not over the top. It's not silly. It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's even this silly kind of situation. Like if I explain to someone, well, he went to a psychic and he did this and he grabbed the guy by the cup. It's not over the top. The acting is wonderful by everyone. It's not like, oh, fuck, this would never happen kind of shit. Not at all.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Listen, you know me long enough. I would tell you if there was fucking holes in it or if it wasn't one of my favorites. I kind of forgot about it. My favorite line in the whole, and I've told you this, probably my favorite line, or certainly one of the top 3 or 4, about St. Patrick's Day.
Hell is an Irish bar. It's St. Patrick's Day every day. Yeah. Well,
Henry, probably a very underrated director on the show. He did 4 of them. Plus, he was our line producer and took care of all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But,
was this his second episode or third?
I think the second.
Yeah. He did really good job. I mean, just even in the beginning with the montages, the way he's panning and everybody's waiting in the rooms, it really created that mood of when somebody's in the hospital and you're waiting for the news or waiting to see how they recover.
It's like I describe it as a living wake.
It's like a living wake, and he really captured that through his work. He was nominated for DGA, Directors Guild of America Award for this. Yeah.
Wow. And were you nominated for an Emmy for this?
No.
Any of yours for writing?
No.
Well, you got robbed. All right, so we open up in the hospital. Christopher had gotten shot by Sean and Matt in the last episode. We open up. Christopher lies in the bed. Adriana's by his side. She pins the Pope. Pin of the Pope. She pins it on him. Adriana's there. Silvio comes in with his wife.
The music's great here. I think.
Yeah, they comfort. Otis Redding's throughout this song is throughout the.
It plays 3
episode.
different times, and it plays a lot. I think I had a music cue for Angel Baby. I'm pretty sure in my original draft by Rosie and the originals, and I think David decided on this. This is much better choice. The Otis Redding, it was good.
And so Chris is laying there. Silvio is comforting Adriana. Chris's mother comes in. It's a different mother. This is your first mother. You had a second mother.
This is Nancy Cassar. I think she did 2 episodes, and then it was. This was the only time. That was Marianne Leone who did
who was
later
great.
episodes.
Who's absolutely great, and so is she. She does a good job.
Yeah, and she's a I mean, Adriana says she says something about vodka because Christopher's mothers are drunk. She sleeps all in the morning and all day, and I guess that's saying where Christopher maybe inherited genetically some of these addiction issues,
And also, she comes in just screaming, just hysterical, screaming, out of control. She says she wants. She whispers in Silvio's ear when he hugs her. She says, "I want these. I want them to suffer. Whoever did this, I want them to suffer." He says, "We'll do the best that I can." It's like, listen, I want new aluminum siding on my house. Did you get it done by Wednesday? We'll do the best that we can.
We'll do the best we can, right? Yeah.
It's so the whole series. It's just the values, whatever we want to call it. All right. The police talk to Tony, Paulie, and Pussy. They don't have any info. Of course, they play dumb. In the hallway, here comes Janice and Richie. Paulie don't want Richie there. After that beef that they had about building the ramp.
Pussy says he's full of negative energies.
Janice, you got to pray. You got to pray. AJ's on his phone or playing a game. Paulie is pissed off. Janice, she's a suburban mob housewife now. She dresses much different.
There's no more Parvati. No.
No, she's
she's playing the role now. She's
a big transformation. Tony still hasn't talked to his mother. This is episode 9. All season.
Since she was on the gurney at the end of season 1.
Correct.
Yeah, interesting.
The hospital.
There's a shot of there's like a Muslim family.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have like a picnic set up there. There's a lot of food in this episode. If there's Pussy talking about the sandwiches that Tony wanted, this sandwich or that sandwich, and there's Pussy's eating at the pork store. He's eating cold cuts. AJ with the tray of whatever, lasagna. The pizza as the peace offering. The steak. Tony talks about the steak. Then they're eating steaks. There's food tied into all this stuff here.
Tony, Paulie, Pussy, they talk outside. Richie mentions a drug dealer. Now, is Richie trying to throw a wrench in there? That was a question that I had for you.
No, because this kind of does come because the drug dealer is when Pussy gets the info. That's the drug dealer. That's Quickie G. So
Quickie G, Richie knows that Quickie G may have some information.
May know something, or it might be Fast Fatty, like Silvio said. Might not be Quickie. Maybe it was Fast Fatty.
And let me tell you, Paulie's in Richie's face. Richie tells him back the fuck off, but Paulie's pissed. He told Paulie he was going to build a ramp and shove a Lionel up his ass.
That's right. No, Paulie's he's pissed. They have a hard on for him. They mentioned Tommy Biondi at OTB. I think that's where they got the tip from about Quickie G.
Quickie G.
I used to spend a lot of time at OTB.
Yeah, you were a.
I used to love it. They closed them.
You used to play. Well, you're a horse guy. You still like the horses.
I used to play the. I don't really gamble on horses that much unless I go to the track, which is once in a blue moon. But I used to go to OTB. I used to just love hanging out there. It was always
kind of shit bags. There's a lot of shit bags in there. Right?
Well, there was the regular OTB, which was kind of hardcore gamblers. Then there was the fancy OTB. There was one near the Garden, near Penn Station, and there was.
What is a fancy OTB?
There was one on the Upper East Side. On 2nd Avenue, 53rd. Well, there was the regular room. Then you have to pay. You go into a lounge. You could get food. You could get drinks. You had to pay to get in. And then there was the 52nd Street place had 3 rooms. They had the regular one. They had the nice one. Then they had an ultra high roller one, $100 minimum bet you had to get in. And now
what goes on in there? Strippers?
$100. You got to.
Maybe there was hookers, strippers, hookers.
I never went in that one, but I went in the nice one. You go, you have lunch.
Out.
You sit at the bar, it was nice. The people are a lot of them are really into the horses or they're involved somehow in horse racing. That was fun.
Didn't you run into Pat Cooper at the OTB?
Yeah, down on the one on 7th Avenue near Houston Street. He used to.
And that's when he asked you to get him an audition.
I think he did have an audition, maybe, or he
auditioned a bunch of times.
He wanted to get on the show. He liked the show. He wanted to get on it.
And then what happened? Tell me. You told me the story.
He said that we need Super Cooper.
And when he didn't get it, then you heard him on a radio show do what?
I don't remember that part.
You told me that you helped him get the audition. He knew your aunt or something. and he auditioned. That show needs Super Cooper.
He got the audition, right?
He didn't get the role, and then he was knocking the fucking show on an
Howard
Italian
Stern,
radio,
right? Oh,
on something
really?
on an Italian radio. You forgot all that.
I don't remember.
I forgot all that. I remember every negative thing. Don't you know?
You do.
That?
That's good. All right. That's good. I try to delete that stuff, you know?
Carmela talks with Gabriella. Did you hear? She's a big gossip. Silvio's wife's a big gossip.
She's a big gossip.
Big gossip, yeah. Did you hear about Ralph Mary Cataldo? He was Gomara. He had a baby with the Gomara. And so that is the worst thing you could do. Besides cheating, cheating on your wife, the next worst thing is obviously having a kid with the woman.
Well, it's horrible. And then there's also the financials, you know.
That's a tough one.
There's a whole other thing.
How do you come home and fucking explain that?
I don't think you come home. You stay out in the cold.
Just keep on going.
And she kind of addressed this a little bit before with him, you know.
About
the cheating and the repercussions and what that could come. She's talking about what a bastard child would do to the family. And I love his response. Well, I had her tested for AIDS, as if somehow that mitigates everything, right? Yeah.
It's very weird that he said that. Sometimes Tony Soprano, he's a very intelligent guy. He says some really dumb things and do dumb things. Like when he gave Meadow her friend's car. That was a really bad move.
But we do dumb things as human beings, don't we? We say, sometimes things come out of our mouths. I wish, as soon as they come out, I wish I could take them back,
I've never said anything that I regret. I'm lying.
Jesus.
No, I'm joking.
Jesus. She brings up vasectomies now, and he, later on, he points out the hypocrisy of her religious beliefs, right? That she's talking about vasectomies and birth control, and the Catholic Church doesn't believe in any of that, I guess.
Great line. The great line, she uses the religion when it suits her.
Right, you're religious when it suits you. Yeah.
The thing that gets me, and we've talked about it before, the contradicting of Carmela. So it's okay to cheat. She's okay with the Gomara, kind of.
She's not okay with it.
But wait a minute.
She tolerates it.
She tolerates it.
Yeah.
But
turns a blind eye or whatever.
Yeah, but she's saying that, this will ruin the family, but the cheating, the Gomara won't. But if you have a kid, that'll, what it'll do to this family. You'll shame the family. It's a very weird compromise.
Well, yes and no. I mean, look, a kid, and then it's really, to Carmela, it is embarrassing. Now there's a kid. How much is this kid going to be in their lives? How much is this woman now going to be in their lives? If it's just a fling, you can cut it off at any time. You can't cut off a kid. I mean, you can, but that kid ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? That's. So
the waiting room, it's like a living wake.
Holy's got hand sanitizer, which he was way ahead of his time. Right?
Absolutely. He's been a germaphobe forever, way before COVID.
Way before COVID.
Pussy looks at the Muslim family, and that's another thing. And I don't know if you meant to do this, but it's kind of like at this time, it don't matter who you are, what religion, what race, nothing. We're all fucking grieving. We're all nervous. We're all the fucking same now. It doesn't matter. This is a mob guy, mob family. Here's his family. They have their food on the table. They're worried as everyone else is for Christopher. Pussy's been there. Obviously, he shaved. They yell the code blue. She runs into the room. She's screaming. They're pumping his chest.
Ray's great.
Back to life.
Did a great job in these moments. Yeah.
Great. Paulie and Pussy pull her away and comfort her, and it's a heavy scene. But in the waiting room, like I said, it really is, and I've been there. Unfortunately, probably all of us have been there.
Yeah.
You're in there, and it's like a fucking wake. and the person's still alive, and it's just
The
fucking
uncertainty.
horror.
Yeah,
It's
the
a fucking
uncertainty.
horror. And it doesn't matter, rich, poor, we're all in the same fucking boat there, you know?
Yeah. And Henry does some nice stuff. The overhead shot in the surgery, and then the tracking shots in the waiting room going across everybody while they're waiting. Just he really established the mood and dealt with the time, I thought, really well there. I think it was really cool.
Now, another thing people don't know, when you write the episode, you're on the episode. You're with the, right? You're producing the episode.
Yeah, I didn't in the first one. I did that
You
later.
didn't in the first one, but later on, whoever writes the episode is usually there for any questions.
Producer on set, yeah.
Gives the director notes. Sometimes the actor notes, and it's very helpful.
Well, you give the director the note to give to the actor.
Sometimes
you shouldn't give an actor note as a producer.
Sometimes I'll go to the writer first. If there's a director that's, maybe doesn't know the show as well, et cetera, over the years, I'll go to the writer. I just go right there, Yeah. Like when I was on Secret Life, Brenda Hampton, who I love to death, the creator, she was always there. There was different directors. I just go to her. Is this what you're looking for? Whatever, I wasn't undermining him. I just,
right.
What are we fucking around? Just tell me what you want.
No, that makes sense. Because sometimes directors come on and they've never directed on the show before, and the writers have been there the whole time. If it's something specific about the character, or
and sometimes,
the line,
of course, and sometimes, the director has a different vision than the person who wrote it.
Right. That's true.
Soprano bedroom. Tony gets a call about Christopher. They rush to the hospital. The doctors are working on him. The positive vibes only. His heart stopped. Tony obviously very concerned, and Carmela goes into an empty hospital room, empty beds, and kneels and prays to God to save Christopher. She has a conversation with God.
Yeah, and she says specifically two things. We've chosen this life in full awareness and the consequences of our sins. And then she says, I ask you to spare him, but I ask you to deliver him from blindness and grant him vision. And of course, Christopher does have a vision, so she's connecting those things that, what she prayed for was answered.
And it's very real that, you know what I mean? Not pretentious, bullshitty, very real. She's they're very, at this point, Christopher looks like he's going to die.
Do you pray?
Scared. They're scared.
Have you prayed?
Oh, sure.
You have, yeah?
Sure. I'll ask for a favor. I'll get back to you. If you do this. But I also, not for bullshit things. I pray that I get this job. I pray
like something like this where the stakes are
pray
life
that
and
the
death.
house comes through. I want this. I pray that
the horse wins.
Yeah. I'm praying that we get a dinner reservation. Not for fucking nonsense. If you're gonna call in that fucking card, it better be for real, bro.
It better be for real, yes.
So Hesh pops in. Of course, Hesh always has the answers.
He's a medical expert, right? He knows all the questions to ask, right? Because he's probably got doctors in his family.
He knows the ratings. He knows
what's going on.
And
he's what you want. You want someone like that in a time like that.
Absolutely. Well, that's why he's around for.
That's why
he's the unofficial consigliere. Tony trusts his judgment. Absolutely. Probably a little smarter than the rest of the group. He's a businessman. He's older. He knows these things. Completely different. About the same age as Junior, but completely different personalities.
Yeah.
Right?
180 degrees different.
Yeah. So, Hesh is asking questions of the doctor, and the doctor says, Adriana says, can I go in? He's still in post-op. He wants to talk to Mr. Galtieri. and to Mr. Soprano. So he wants to talk to Paulie. Christopher wants to talk to Paulie and Tony.
Paulie's a little surprised. The doctor, by the way, is played by Seth Barish, who's the director and co-founder of the Barrow Group, which is one of the best off-Broadway theater companies in Greenwich Village. I've gotten, someone's written to me and saying, we really don't want to hear about your, things about your experiences or friends in off-Broadway theater. So whoever that was, that little nugget's for you.
Whoever somebody messaged you.
Yeah, that's why Seth Barish.
Well, there's a lot of people don't want to hear a lot of things.
Right. Well,
they don't want to hear my Vegas stories. What do you want to fucking hear about?
Right. Well, this ain't Burger King.
Yeah.
We don't get it your way. We get it our way.
There you go. So Christopher lies in bed. He's hitting the morphine button. Tony and Paulie come in. Christopher apologizes to Tony. I'm sorry.
Which he does all the time. He's always saying, I'm sorry. He says, I'm sorry to you, 100 times in the course of the show. And that's the first thing he says when they come in.
But I usually Christopher fucks up. This was not a fuck up on his part.
No, he doesn't know what he's saying. What I like is Christopher mentions the bouncer and Paulie asks, what was he wearing? As if somehow that would.
Well, he's trying to punch holes in it.
He's trying to punch holes.
He's trying to punch holes. Did he have the knots in his head? Did he have horns? Did he have the beginning of the horns? He's trying to punch holes. Paulie is a germaphobe. Paulie is a lot of things, as is Tony. And he's worried about, what happens to him after he dies. He's been paying the priest, we find out, paying that insurance. He wants everything to go smooth in his afterlife after killing who knows how many people. So Paulie is concerned. Tony doesn't believe in this stuff. Christopher says he saw the tunnel, saw the white light. Did you speak to anyone when you were doing research that have died and saw the light, had this experience?
I don't think I spoke to anyone. I might have looked it up or something. I did have a scene. I think I had a scene like you actually see the afterlife, like a dream sequence. And it was Mikey Palmici wearing like a gangster suit, pretending he was James Cagney in the bar or something like that. And then I think we got rid of it.
And they say Brendan and Mikey. Brendan and Mikey are playing dice with Roman soldiers. And once again, tell Tony and Paulie 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. The Hell is an Irish bar at St. Patrick's Day. So it's like there's always been kind of a attraction and repulsion between Italian and Irish. You know what I mean? There's like, they often live in the same city and, usually work together on the police force or firemen and stuff like that. But they're very different culturally. Like the idea of an Italian having to eat corned beef and cabbage every day would be a nightmare, right? For eternity.
Yeah. But also there's a lot of mixed Italian-Irish marriages in New York City.
There is, yeah.
In Brooklyn, a real lot.
But the cultures are,
it's completely different, that's for sure. You say you saw Christopher says he saw his father in hell, and that's where I'm going, the bouncer said, when it's my time. Paulie's listening. He's very concerned. Tony, it doesn't bother, but that's what Christopher saw. I have talked to people who, there was a kid that I worked with many, many years ago, and he got into a terrible car accident. And he told me, he explained in vivid detail to me that he died and they brought him back to life. And what he saw, vivid detail.
What most people seem to have in common, and Christopher doesn't experience this, is that they lose their fear of death after that. Like there's something they experience in that afterlife moment is very peaceful and calming and almost like blissful. And a lot of these people lose their fear after that there's nothing to fear when they go through.
Paulie is very afraid.
Paulie's very afraid.
He is fucking spooked, and he's punching holes in the story. Do they have holes?
Goat bumps.
Yeah, goat bumps. What did he asked Silvio, they're getting on the elevator, what time was the Mikey hit? 10, 11. Paulie's thinking, overthinking, and he's getting worried. He's thinking that was the time that they killed him. Right?
Yeah.
Because he also mentions, well, that comes later on. Okay. Melfi's office. She saw the news about Christopher. He talks about the vasectomy. This is a really, really well-acted, well-written scene, Michael. I'm telling you, this is some really good stuff here.
Thanks, man.
And, we're soldiers. He rationalizes why him and they do the things they do. We're soldiers. The J.P. Morgans, the Rockefellers, they used us to build the subways, the buildings. We were the worker bees. And not everybody wanted to just be that. So the Italians went out on their own for their piece of the pie.
Right. And some of us wanted a piece of the act. He's saying soldiers don't go to hell because they're fighting for a cause. He's saying everybody involved knows the stakes here. And we follow codes and orders. And if you break those codes and if you know the stakes, this is what happens. So he's justifying it. I think Melfi, and I forgot about this, she's getting spooked because Tony got shot and almost killed, right? Now his nephew got shot and may die. And I think all this is coming way too close to home for her. It's like, you know what I mean? And we see later on, she's getting freaked out a bit. It's like he knows that my son goes to Bard. She's like, this ain't the movies, man. Yeah, this ain't no joke. Yeah. Well, it is it is a TV show, but in her mind, she's saying this is the real deal. I'm playing with fire a little bit here, and I think it really, and to hear him rationalize all this stuff, she realizes he's a killer.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that when you say we're in war and everyone knows it's all about money.
Right. It's not.
The mob is almost all about money.
Right.
That's really what it is. It's about money, it's about greed and money. I mean, that's really the motivating factor, right?
Right. That's what Sirico said once. He goes, they're talking about this and honor that. He goes, they're thieves. Tony said that to me once. Yeah. They're thieves.
I mean, that's really what it's all about. She does judge him. She comes back at Tony. He doesn't like it, and both of them are great. And he gives this explanation as to why he's not going to hell. And right. Christopher's not going to hell. And Christopher's killed people, and Tony's killed people, but he's not going because he's a soldier, and they have a cause.
And he does the right thing. If Tony even believes in heaven and hell, which I'm not sure he does,
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Now Paulie's with Michelle.
Judy Reyes, who was on Scrubs and Oz, and also founding member of the Labyrinth Theater, an off-Broadway theater company. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of the founders.
And I worked with her on Blue Bloods. I had scenes with her on Blue Bloods. She's a wonderful actress.
Yul Vasquez is a member.
She's a really nice girl and a wonderful, wonderful actress. And this was great. I mean, she looks exactly the same. I had to look her up because I'm going, this is 20 years ago. She looks exactly the same to me. And she's just a wonderful actress. He lies in bed. He's got the clock in his hand. It's 2:59. It turns to 3. He jumps up. She's trying to comfort him.
His hair's a little messed up.
His wings are way out of place, baby.
Way out of place.
Woo! Yeah. He looks almost. I don't think you could even read
them on the wingometer. They'd be off.
No. He's half Grandpa Munster, half Bozo. He's got little tiny Bozo wings. Yeah. The girlfriend comforts him. She says Chris is a troubled kid. Don't take it personal. And then she tells her story how Mikey's wedding, they had to switch the wedding and they got married at 3:00.
And he's connecting it to Mikey Palmici, who was in the dream, and 3:00. And it's too much for Paulie. Too close, too weird and too scary for Paulie.
I see you gave that guy a little zinger about the off-Broadway stuff again.
Yeah.
So you're going to keep fucking zinging?
Right. This is going to be,
off-Broadway.
It's going to be a running thing.
All right. Let's fucking go. Okay. So Paulie visits Christopher. Hilarious. If you're not laughing at this, there's something wrong. How you doing? I'm still baffled by the 3 o'clock thing. The bouncer that sent you back, did he have horns on the back of his head?
Or goat bumps? He's really trying to figure this out. He's pondering it.
Chris is asleep. He moves the chair to wake him up. I'm tidying up. And then Christopher goes, what the fuck? He's trying to get to the bottom of things, and he says, he has some insane formula. The mortal sins by 50, the venal sins.
Well, first he says, was it hot? He's still trying to see if it's hell or not. And he says, I don't know. He goes, well, that would be the first thing you'd remember, because it's never been disputed that hell is hot. That's never been, no matter who talks about it, hell is hot.
He says he could do 6,000 years standing on his head.
In eternity times, that's nothing. So he's figuring it all out. And I wonder if the priest told him this shit. I wonder if a priest actually sat him down and said, well, you take your mortal, hey, how many mortal sins? Well, multiply that by,
he heard it from somewhere.
Somewhere, right. He didn't come up with this.
No. And maybe as a kid, could have been also as a kid, the church, catechism, the religious school, you hear all kinds of things back then, They changed the rules up on you. You used to not be able to eat meat on Fridays or you go to hell. Remember that? That's right. It was so if you eat a ham sandwich, you're in hell with Hitler and all these horrible fucking people for eating a ham sandwich on a Friday. There was a comic.
That's a venal, so that's only.
I had a great joke, if I eat a ham sandwich, but now you can eat ham sandwiches. They changed the rules a lot, the church.
They make it easier.
I don't know, for some people, depending on,
They make it more user-friendly. Yeah. Used to have to fast on Friday. I think that was the whole point.
Really?
Yeah. And then it was like people had to work. It was hard to fast. So they said, all right, you don't eat meat. And you eat fish. And people ate fish. And then it became whatever.
Melfi's with her therapist, Elliot. She says, was I insensitive? He said, why'd you take it back? What do you hope to achieve with this man?
Good question. What do you hope to achieve? She's also taking Ativan, which is, I guess, like a Valium, kind of an anti-anxiety.
Anti-anxiety. And she said she's been drinking alone. Yeah. She's crying. She's very emotional. She's afraid of Tony, like you said.
She's afraid. And it's like I said, this shooting, I think, once again, this is getting too close to home. He almost died. Tony was shot. This kid is shot. His nephew. It's like I said, this ain't a game.
No, this is no joke. This is no joke. Pussy gets in the car with Skip Lipari.
The bridge is there, and Pussy is
in the background.
Not long for this world over
there. He's talking to sandwiches, which is very funny. The gabagol and the tomatoes and the mozzarella. He's got the eggplant. He's got a whole spiel about why Tony knows he's a rat over sandwiches. He's paranoid.
He's paranoid, and Skip says, you're seeing things through different eyes now. Now you're seeing things through, you're a rat, so you're paranoid. And it's affecting how he sees the world, right? He's paranoid and he's scared because if they find out he's dead, right?
Sure. And listen, Skip keeps throwing the heroin up in his face. Don't forget what got you into this. Don't forget what you got to do. He's facing a lot of years for dealing heroin.
And
he throws that up.
We're not friends, you and I. However friendly he was and ingratiated himself with Pussy so he would get more out of him. He keeps reminding him,
absolutely,
I'm not your friend.
And we're going to have the Skip Lipari played by the wonderful Louis Lombardi. We're gonna have him coming up.
He's going to join us. Yes.
So I look forward to that. I haven't talked to Louis in a while, and a wonderful actor who's done all kinds of work. So I look forward to that. We're back in the hospital. Christopher's in bed. His mother leaves. He tells his mother. She says, "I'll bring you breakfast, but you don't get up till noon." Carmela tells him the other night, when your heart stopped, I prayed to God to spare you and to grant you vision, and He did that. And
She actually thinks that her prayers intervened. And she said, not only to spare you, but to grant you vision, and he had a vision. Although she doesn't know the vision, Tony lied to her and said, oh, he dreamed that he saw Jesus, and Jesus.
I think she says Paulie. Did she not say Paulie?
I thought it was Tony.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you wrote it. You wrote it. You know better than me.
I think Tony said and which makes sense. Tony doesn't want to go into this, that he saw hell. Tony just said, oh, he saw Jesus, just to shut her up, maybe let her be happy. And Christopher looks scared of Carmela. You know, she's going in. There's a little bit of that religious fanaticism coming over her, you know.
And very much
he's clicking. You know, there's that saying, religion is the opiate of the masses. That's Karl Marx. So you have religion. Hers is religion, and Christopher's is opium or morphine. You know, that to calm them down there. I guess that's a little bit of analogy. I like how he says it's pretty fucking good. Is the painkillers are not working? Oh no, they're pretty fucking good.
He says he didn't see Jesus. She said you must repent. You must repent because he saved you. So now you must do that. And she very much thinks she intervened on your behalf.
Yeah.
The look on her face when you tell her that you didn't speak to Jesus, but you were in hell.
Right. Betrayal and, you know, and fear. But it doesn't change the fact that she does still think that prayer intervened and that she did cause him to see a vision. So now she shifts gears. Oh, wasn't Jesus? Well, but you did see a vision, and now, like you said, it's time to repent. You have to use this.
And Christopher just looks. I don't think he even knows what the fuck she's.
He doesn't know. He's a little scared of her, I think.
Carmela. No, don't forget, Christopher is Carmela's cousin.
Yeah.
Not Tony's cousin. Only through marriage.
He's related on Carmela's side.
Yeah. Tony, how was he? We're not talking now. So Carmela comes in the house from the hospital. She's given one-word answer. She's pissed off. Obviously, there's something wrong.
She's also asking if there's any news.
Yeah.
And she's referring to, did they find the guy? Because
she's very aware of this.
She wants this justice somehow.
Yeah, through different scenes, you see her looking like, did they find them? Blah, blah, blah. Which is just, once again, just the biggest, you know, she wants the guy who did it. She knows what's going to happen to him, but yet she's praying, you know. It's a wacky fucking deal there.
It's a dichotomy, isn't it?
What does that mean? Wacky? Dichotomy?
Dichotomy, I guess it's, you know, dual, you know, two things at once, you know. Two opposing things at once.
She says, at least have the balls to be honest. He said, I got balls, and they will remain intact. And this is when he tells you, you're only religious when it suits you. The Pope doesn't believe in Trojans, and you want me to get snipped, you know. I'm thinking my family. Good line there, you know. You're only religious when it suits you. And you know, as well as I know, there are millions of people are only religious when it suits them.
Sure, of course. I mean, because, you know, and listen, when the stakes are very high, you know, I mean, you're talking about having a kid with a, you know, girlfriend that she doesn't know. She doesn't know who this woman is or what her deal is or what, you know, she probably assumes the worst about her, and the stakes are that he may have a kid with her. You know, who knows? She knows he goes out, he drinks, it's late at night, and she probably assumes the woman would love it because then, you know, it would tie her to Tony forever, you know.
Oh, sure.
You know,
so absolutely.
She's thinking the worst.
Listen, I told you my father had 2 kids out of wedlock. I told you that in the early episode. There's 2 kids running around out there, you know.
Yeah.
Which is just horrifying.
But did your family know it, but not till later, right? Your mother or the sister or you? No, none of you knew.
I was maybe about 12.
12. That's rough.
12 years old.
That's rough.
Yeah, about 12 years old.
But was he still living with you guys at that point?
In and out. Yeah, at the time when we found out, he was living there. because he had been in and out for years, and he had 2 kids, and I'm sure they're very nice. I met one of them, I told you, and I never met the other one, and
In and
that's
out
what
meaning
happened
like
there.
a few
You know,
weeks,
he
a
may
few
be
months, or
gone.
what?
Yeah, a few months, then gone, then come back. I don't know. Florida back, upstate back. Probably living with this woman too.
Trying to get different jobs going and stuff like
I
that in different
guess not
places,
really.
different
Whatever he was doing, but
different hustles or whatever.
probably maybe not even where he was supposed to. Maybe in another part of Brooklyn. Living with them as a family. That's what I assume.
Yeah.
So when Tony AJ comes in, he's listening. They go into the other room. He drops the plate of lasagna or eggplant, whatever it is, and Tony yells at him, and it's really mean and it's wrong what he says to the kid.
It's really mean. It's really mean, and he's talking about a male heir, and he takes it out on her, and he don't,
And what are you doing to yourself? He does say that, meaning gaining weight, but it's a really nasty thing to say to your kid.
Yeah. Well, it's a nasty scene. The other thing about it's a sin to undo his work, Tony says, and Carmel says, well, you should know you've made a living at it.
Yeah.
Referring to killing people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's,
so
it's a really, just another great scene. It's really, the episode is a very underrated episode. Because, people don't talk about this one that much. Maybe they're afraid of the religion thing. A lot of people don't want to go there, whatever religion you are,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
and people, this is a touchy subject with people. The afterlife, what happens to you, where you go.
It is.
You don't want to talk about the priest and the thing, and we all know what that whole shit goes on. The church isn't as popular as it once was. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Catholic Church. Right? Michelle's bedroom. Paulie has a nightmare. Again, the wings are out of whack. You're dragging me to hell. You're having a nightmare. The kids wake up. They hear the wind chimes. Tony's crazy. He's getting crazy about this. She recommends the psychic, Cullen. He deals with this kind of stuff. They shot that scene in the same day. So Tony only had to mess the wings up once.
But he did, yeah. He went for it. Yeah. The wind, I guess, there's in Isabella, the episode Isabella, there's that whole thing of wind and like as a portent, you're predicting evil or whatever, Death, not evil. I guess that's what that is there.
Pussy's at the deli. Quickie G, the drug dealer, the junkie walks in, drug dealer. What do you got? He tells him where map of Belavacqua is. George Washington slept here house. Where is that? Near the George Washington Bridge?
No, it's Hackle-Barney State Park, which is in Chester, New Jersey, about an hour from where Tony Soprano lives. They didn't shoot it there; they shot it in Paramus. But Hackle-Barney State Park there's two versions. The name either comes from the Native American Lenni Lenape tribe, Hakaboni, which means put wood on a fire. But there were iron mines there, and one story is the foreman's name was Barney Tracy, and he heckled the men while they worked, so they called it Heckle Barney. Right. So I don't know, but they shot it in Paramus, so it doesn't matter.
Very creative. This is something that I've never seen before. Pussy's eating his lunch. He's got cheese. He's got prosciutto, ham, whatever he's got. Yeah. Off the scale. I've never seen that. I liked it. They put paper down.
It looked very real, didn't it?
It looked very real. He's sitting there and he's picking on stuff. He's not having an exact sandwich, but
a snack.
He wants $20. He's a low rent junkie, obviously. Pussy gives him the $20, and he makes a gesture. He knows this is going to get him back in good graces because Skip Lipari told him in that scene, make Tony love you again.
That's right.
Make it like you're trying to, fuck a girl. Make him love you again. Get back in his good graces, and this is going to do it.
Right. That's his motivation here.
Now, this guy who plays the psychic, Kevin Cullen, is absolutely hilarious and terrific.
John Christopher Jones. Yes, he's
You
been in a
know,
lot of movies.
He is
Yeah.
he does this well. So he's talking to a spirit, and there's a group, maybe I don't know, 7, 8 people listening. He's in his, I guess it's his house, a living room.
Now, this is
house.
based on somebody told me an experience they had with a psychic, and this is how it went. The guy was seeing in the room, you know, he's seeing people, he's talking to people who are over there. Like I someone close to me told me this experience and said some crazy shit came out of it. The first guy he's dealing with found his father's body after a suicide, and that's based on someone else I knew. But I mean, do you believe in these psychic people?
I'm not sure.
I think a lot of them are frauds, probably most of them.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that say they talk to the dead.
Well, how do they do it on TV? I mean, you know what I mean? The cameras are all around and they talk to someone. That's the thing that gets me.
Listen, I know a guy who was a hypnotist, right? And he said his whole act was this. He'd come out on stage and he'd do shit like, all right, how many people are from Brooklyn? 20 people ready to say, all right, out of you 20, how many people from New Jersey? How many people drive a white car? You know, and he'd see who were the most eager people to participate. Right in the beginning, and so he'd weed out, and he'd get them on stage because those people want to do it, right? And there's a similar thing I think with these people. They throw out kind of
but they are hypnotized. And listen, I used to hire.
This is different, obviously, but I'm saying they cue people. They find out what people.
Yeah, I used to hire a hypnotist. Yeah, sure, of course.
They want to connect with the dead, right? So they know that. So you don't have to, as long as you tap into a couple of little things. I see a mother with the two daughters. So I see the mother with the two, there's a C, or something, or is it an F, and she's saying, and they always say, you have to let go, I don't know. I think a lot of them are frauds. Somebody hired me a psychic once to do a reading she was kind of famous, and worked with the police even, apparently. But, on my Wikipedia page, there used to be a mistake. It used to say my real name was James Michael Imperioli, which it's not at all. And my name is Michael Imperioli. That's the real name. So first she tripped on the way in because I had a sunken room, like the living room was sunken. And
she came to your place?
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, she should have saw that coming, that step, But so then she started going, and my grandfather had recently died. So I said, yeah, I'd love to, because my grandfather was my buddy. I said, yeah, I'd love to talk to him, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really need to talk to him, but he was 88 when he died. It was whatever. She said, he's saying James. Does that mean anything? And as soon as she said it, I knew exactly what she looked me up. And she's thinking he probably called me by my real name. And I said, no. She goes, James or Jim, James. He's saying James. I said, absolutely no connection to that. Are you sure? Just think about it. I'm like, and it just went south from there. You know what I mean? It just was. And I knew what she was doing. I mean, look, I'm, on a TV show. I'm known to the public. You could look up information about me. You know what I mean? I mean, they did a thing at Shea Josephine. Some psychic went there and he was talking about, there's a guy, he's here, he's unhappy. Well, my friend Jean-Claude owned it and he killed himself in 2015. It's like, well, you could look that shit up. You go into the restaurant, you're going to do some research, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then there are people, you're a public figure, but if you're just Joe Blow and they don't know anything about you, there's people that swear by these people. They swear by it.
I'm sure some people have it.
I knew someone who said this woman told him stuff that there's no one in the world except for him knows.
I've had people who say the same thing. I've never had that, but I've had twice or three times psychic experiences that cannot be explained by any other thing. Myself, I'm not a psychic. I don't have those abilities, but I had three moments where I did have. There was no. I realized something that was true that I had no way of knowing in the moment. It just came to me.
Yeah.
And there's no other way of knowing it except some kind of telepathic thing, and that's happened a couple of times.
I did a movie about someone who talks to the dead, and I do think people may have. I think people may have a movie called Hereafter. It's a great movie, Clint Eastwood movie. Matt Damon plays that guy, and he hated it. He didn't want to exploit it, and I think there's people that have that don't want to exploit it. They can do it, but they're not on TV. They're not on TLC
Right.
or fucking Discovery Show and all of that. I think there is some entertainment part to it, and then I think there are some people that could.
Right.
Only you're gonna know if somebody tells you something that you're the only person in the world knows. Well, that
right, and that happens to Paulie in the scene, as he mentioned something that there's no way anybody could know.
As far as hypnotists, I think if you're a willing participant, you could be hypnotized.
Yeah, and you want to be on stage, and you want to be, that whole thing.
But it's two different things. I don't know about these people. I don't know. Kreskin, that's an act, isn't he? Just an act?
I don't know much about him.
It's a great movie with John Malkovich. No, is it John Malkovich or Kevin Spacey? Based on him and Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son. It's a really good movie. I forget the movie's name. Really, it's based on that, like a illusionist, whatever you call it. So here's the psychic meeting. Paulie's spooked by what he's hearing. The Great Buck Howard is the name of the movie.
Oh yeah,
the Great Buck Howard. Paulie is freaked out. He's talking to Gregory, right, about his father, and then he starts getting another spirit coming in. And he plays it great, and he goes to the other side of the room, and he brings up the Poison Ivy, and he brings up Charlie Pagano, Sonny Pagano. That was his first hit. Nobody could have known this. What I love about John Christopher Jones, I mean, he's playing it so straight.
Right.
Like even when Paulie grabs him at first, he's not.
He's not intimidated.
He's still talking to the spirit. He's not intimidated.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very good.
He's not freaked out. He's not going, you got to go, you got to go. He's playing it straight. It's really funny. Paulie, there's no way anyone, I mean, who knew that? Nobody tipped this guy off about that.
No, there's something there, and it freaks him out a lot, and he reacts in anger and throws the chair and throws it at the ghost.
Yeah, it's really funny. But, remember all these psychics, like the hotline, Dionne Warwick was a psychic, and Miss Cleo.
I don't know if Dionne was a psychic. She was the spokesman, right?
I thought she was claiming to be a psychic.
I don't think so.
Miss Cleo and they had these people suddenly had that ability. And
there was the one on one of the Spanish channels, and he dressed kind of like Liberace.
Yeah.
That guy was
Mercado.
That guy was.
He's there's a Netflix special on him.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, he was
big documentary. Yeah, and he was very popular all over the world. Like, hundreds of millions of people. I mean, he was very, very popular. This guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You believe or you don't believe. That's an individual. What the hell do I know?
Yeah.
It's like aliens. You believe in aliens or don't you? You believe in aliens?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know if they've been here, but I think there's definitely other life forms out there. Do you?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Really? I don't know. Is there a guy? I mean, is he here?
I mean, the stuff that they see flying around, I think that's all experimental aircraft. I don't, you know what I mean? That's.
I mean, people swear by it. People
no, I know.
swear by this stuff that there's aliens exist and there was flying saucers in Area 51 outside of Las Vegas. My wife's brother worked at Area 51. He
Did he
won't give
see
up.
anything?
He won't give up nothing. I don't know. He's it's classified information. There was a guy on Joe Rogan, George Knapp, who used to be a reporter. He still is a reporter in Las Vegas. I think it was Channel 8. And he was just on Joe Rogan last week or weeks ago. And they say there was flying saucers crashed. I don't know.
And he's not a nut. He's kind of together guy or what? Yeah.
I think
No,
so.
I mean,
Right.
who knows? Why not? Maybe. I mean, what I'm surprised now that everybody has a camera all the time, right? Back in the 60s and 70s, nobody walked around with a camera, very few people, right? And once in a while you get a shot. Now everybody has a camera all the time. You'd think there'd be
somebody would catch them.
Thousands of sightings or something.
Who do you think would be, if there's a Soprano cast, who would be an alien? If there was one among us, who would it be?
Oh, you mean like a shapeshifter kind of alien?
Yeah. If there was one, if there's aliens exist, there might have been one of the cast members might have been an alien.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who would you think of it? Paulie Walnuts? No, he's too real.
Maybe it's you.
I believe in Bigfoot, though.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Get out. That's
I
bullshit.
do. I've heard him. I've heard him in the woods.
You're bullshit, man. Maybe you're the alien.
Christopher?
Maybe.
Nah.
Paulie talks with Tony.
And Tony says, why didn't you ask him where Matt is? And Tony probably thinks, Paulie spilled something and the guy just, Tony's not convinced.
At this point, he's not convinced. But when he talks later to Pussy, he's not sure.
He's not sure, yeah.
Mikey's the ringleader. He says, of all the heavy hitters you killed, they're going to listen to Mikey? That's what Tony says. And then he says, find Matt. And he says he only talks to the dead. And, he says, you like steak. And he's saying, in India, you go to hell for that. So he's trying to say,
it's all relative. And he's also kind of the song that's playing there, King Nothing by Metallica. And that wasn't my choice, but I'm wondering if that was chosen as it's reflecting Tony not believing any of this shit. Like Livia, remember when she says to AJ, it's all a big nothing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what that's about.
So Tony brings pizza in AJ room. This is a really sweet moment. He brings pizza and Coke. Their product placement, once again, Coke. Okay? Cans of Coke. Tony Tony says, I need to control my emotions. He sees himself in AJ. Gives a really nice apology. He sincerely, this isn't just because Carmela told him. He sincerely feels bad about this. He said, I couldn't ask for a better son. Carmela comes up. She hears the end of it. And Big Pussy's on the phone. It's urgent. She kind of knows
what it is.
She knows what it is. She knows that they found whoever it is.
Yeah. And, listen, we all say things we regret. And he says, I see myself in you. That's why I can lose control sometimes, and it's, also they're going through a stressful time. I mean, the nephew, he might die. He's, they love him. They're close. It's a tough time.
It's a very, very, very tough time. They're very close, nephew. And he's got this lingering thing. She's bothering him about this vasectomy now. Now's not the time. Like, what the fuck, and he feels bad, legitimately. Like you said, we all say stuff, Carmela knows, like I said, and then they go pick up a gun. He meets Pussy, Tony. He says, me and Furio got to cover. You don't have to do this. He's got the guns in the pork store that's hidden. It's a nice hiding spot behind the insulation.
It's a nice spot. Do you think Tony wants to go? It's personal to him. Do you sense any testing of Pussy here? Tony's suspicions, testing him. He wants to make sure this, or no?
I don't. Not at this point. I don't. I think he
Not in
wants
the back
to
of
do
his
it.
mind somewhere, because there was suspicions
Well, I see something later on.
later on. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think at this point he's got suspicions. Pussy, come over. Me and Furio got it covered. No, I want to do it now. Could it be when it came down to him and Furio, if he would have made Furio do it on his own?
Yeah.
That's a possibility. If Tony didn't come, me and Furio got it. He would have told Furio, "You do it."
Tony wants you to do it.
That's right. Furio's the bottom rung at this
And
point.
Furio would have done it. Yeah.
All right. So it's very possible there. But Tony says, no, I want to do it. Three's a crowd. Tell Furio to stay home. Tony and Pussy, they drag Matt inside the snack bar. Matt's already been beaten up.
And Lilo's very good in the scene.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes,
He's really very honest, and really he's a very good actor, man.
He ties him. He ties him to the chair. Tony does it himself. You know, this is the head of the family. It's kind of weird that he's doing it. I don't know if you would have Paul Castellano do this or you know, do you know what I mean? He's really hands-on.
But he is at times hands-on. You know,
He's very hands-on. Oh, no, a lot of
throughout
times.
the series, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The snack bar, he ties Matt up. Relax. We just want to talk to you. It was Sean. He pees on himself. He's blaming Sean. He's denying everything. Says he's thirsty. Diet Coke. Once again.
Diet Coke.
Product placement. Matt denies it. It's Sean. Sean did it on spec. So he's claiming Sean did it, which partly he did.
Partly he did. And
He
there's
did
no
it
way
on-
they could find out because he's dead. So that's
He
a
did
good
it on spec for Richie. You know, he was going to get in good graces. The two of them were going to get in Richie's good graces. That's what they were hoping.
Right. But he also knows that doesn't matter.
Exactly. Tony says he's not going to kill him. Richie had nothing to do with it. He wants to know. He wants to make sure that it wasn't Richie who hired them to do the killing. He said no. Matt is honest. He could have gave Richie up there if he wanted to.
Lied.
Yeah. Tony shoots first. Pussy hesitates. Then he shoots and they blast him. There's a hesitation there.
And that's the testing, you think, a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe Pussy didn't really want to do it. You wrote it. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think it's been, Tony doesn't want to believe it, but like there's got to be a little bit of a lingering doubt.
Well, if Pussy's a rat, he just murdered someone. So that's a whole nother.
Good. That's a whole other. It's good for
Now,
Tony. Yeah.
Exactly. Now he's a murderer, and now they got him on a murder thing. Forget the heroin,
Yeah.
right? Paulie goes to see Father Felix. Great
Father
scene.
Felix, there was when I was a kid, I used to go to church, St. Ursula in Mount Vernon, and they'd get priests coming from other countries and stuff every so often. And I think Father Felix was from India. When we were little, 7, 8, and couldn't understand Father Felix.
Yeah.
And we used to laugh, you stupid when you're young, because he sounded funny to us. But
I still laugh now. I'm an idiot.
So Father Felix, and that's Peter McRobbie, who, if you ever see the movie Lincoln, Spielberg movie, he has a very substantial part in that. He plays George Pendleton. He goes up against Lincoln. He's on the opposing side. Really good. He was born in Scotland. He was a judge on Law and Order a bunch of times. You see him pop up there a lot. But his desk is funny because you got the mixture of like the sacred and the mundane. You have the crucifix and the chalice, and then the stapler and the Advil. It's just, and the cigarettes and the overflowing ashtray. It's pretty funny.
Paulie's complaining. He complains to the priest. He says there's no validity to this devil shit. The priest tells him.
It's witchcraft.
He says, I paid for the new organ and the altar boy's whites.
And he says, you should have came to me first.
Yeah.
Instead of going to the
he could have took care of it. Yeah. I should have immunity, he tells him. I should have been covered by my donations. You left me unprotected. You're not going to see another dime from me. Like insurance. That's why he wasn't really doing it out of the goodness of his heart. At some point, he was going to call in the favor. And the priest didn't deliver. It's too late now.
Deliver, no. And there's that great shot of when he's leaving and he's looking at the Christ, and then it's a long shot, and then he just slowly walks and the door closes.
And that's
door closes. Nice. Nice shot. Henry, great job on this. What he was doing with the camera, I like.
So you got Duke's Restaurant. It's an actual place, Duke's Stockyard Inn in Jersey. It's an Irish bar.
It's an Irish bar, and there's this, behind Pussy, there's stained glass, but there's also, in some of the shots, you can see there's two horns coming out of his head.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's something in the background, but in a couple of the shots, the way Pussy's framed, it looks like big horns coming out of his head. It's very.
You think that was done purposely?
It was. Henry apparently did do that purposely.
I
don't think they met. I think they saw it, the possibility when they got in the location, and then, and then kind of accented it. I don't think it was, we got to find horns. I don't think it was predetermined, but I think it was adjusted when he saw that possibility.
They're enjoying a steak. It's kind of like old times. Tells him a joke. I got to tell you, the steak is really rare. Jesus Christ.
You don't like it rare?
No, it's bleeding.
How do you like it?
I like it medium to medium well.
Wasn't there a scene when you ate steaks?
Oh, yeah.
What scene was that?
The Nostradamus scene.
Was that after a kill?
Season 3. No. I'm explaining to him, after 9/11, my mother went down. And
but you guys were in a restaurant alone?
We were in a diner.
For what? For just, it wasn't after.
I don't know where
this is kind of a tradition they have.
Yeah. And it's a big bloody steak. Tony tells a Pussy a joke. It's like old times. They're back together.
Have you ever heard that joke before?
A version of it. Did you write that?
No, I heard it.
Yeah, a version of it. It's kind of a stock kind of.
But he's also saying that, I think there's an undercurrent of feels like Carmela doesn't appreciate what she gets.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. And then he asks at one point, do you believe in God? Hey, Puss, do you believe in God? Now, don't forget, Big Pussy's much older than Tony. So there's a little mentorism there in a way also. They're friends, they're childhood friends, but Pussy's been around. Tony looks up to him in a way, about the kids. He went to him for advice, and Pussy seems, it's been around longer than Tony.
A little more old school.
Even then Tony's the boss. And he said, do you believe in God? I think he's questioning the whole thing with Christopher. And he said, yes, God's been good to me.
Yeah.
Pussy says, God's been good to me. The Soprano bedroom. Carmela's in bed.
She's reading Memoirs of a Geisha, and that's deliberate. Geisha, in the Japanese tradition, their hostess is trained to entertain, kind of like a courtesan a little bit. And in the story, there's mention of an illegitimate child and stuff. So I think there's that connection that Carmela.
I think she reads that in a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
There's a few episodes. He walks in, how you doing? Good. He gets undressed. They're in bed. She's been thinking, I don't want you to do it. He says he agrees to do it.
And I also think she kind of knew where he was going, and the way he comes home, she kind of knows what happened.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And part of that, there's a big relief and release in this scene. For Tony, the score is settled, right?
Yeah.
Christopher's doing better. The score is settled, and now he's gonna capitulate to her, what she's asking for. And for Carmela, the same thing. She saw him make peace with AJ. Christopher, the score is settled. There's the tension's down.
Yeah, she says, Meadows going to school. I may want to have another baby. He says, I'll do it. You're driving me crazy. I agree to do it. She says, don't do it. She seems at peace. He is somewhat at peace. She certainly seems it. And then they have sex.
She says she might want to have a baby.
Yeah, Meadows gone. She may want to have another baby, so don't get the vasectomy.
I think this is the first time they have sex in the show.
Oh, is it?
And the last episode I wrote, Marco Polo, they have sex in the pool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the last time, but
so,
I don't.
So you're like a porn writer,
I'm kind of the pornographer of the.
And now you had her on top. Is there a reason for that? She's in charge. Does that mean anything?
I think there's something about her. She's come to an understanding, basically, and she wants to. I don't know. I don't know.
Or was it that she got turned on that she thinks he just killed somebody?
I think there's an element to that. I think it's also she feels closer to him now. She saw him apologize. He's saying he's willing to get a vasectomy. There's an intimacy, and she's.
So you're a porn writer, somewhat of a porn writer,
and a feminist.
Is there an episode called "Blow Me Down" that you wrote? And
we never got to shoot that one. And they never have the baby.
No, the baby doesn't.
And he doesn't get a vasectomy, does he? No.
No. And how do we know they don't have the baby? I think he lives at the end. Maybe they had a baby in episode 87.
That's true. You never know.
Maybe,
and then they bring the song back. They cut to these little statues.
It's a great song. Great song.
Really good song.
Great. Yeah. And it was a great episode. I applaud you, and I really do, and I mean that. I enjoyed this. I enjoy them all, but I got real laughs. If someone read this, if this was the pilot, someone read it, it's laugh out loud funny. Almost
it's pretty funny. Yeah, there's some funny stuff.
Great stuff. Really well done, man.
Thank you. That was fun to go back and look at. I hadn't in a long time.
Well done. Now it's time for the Talking Sopranos Ask Me Anything segment. The winner of our AMA Best Question is Julianne from Utica, Michigan. And we're sending Julianne a pair of Bose headphones.
Julianne asks, Michael, what was your favorite scene that Steve was in? And same question for Steve. What was your favorite Christopher scene? So I have two, really. The fight scene is great. Just because of the reality and the physical commitment to it, and just, you really had to go someplace. And that's not easy, to make that real and to be willing to commit, and the trust you guys had to have for each other. It's very exciting and dynamic. But the scene when, he's dealing with the death of his wife, and you break down and you're talking about how much, you're basically expressing how much you love her and how much you miss her. It's just, you just get very real and really raw. And
that was tough. That was tough. Yeah, that was really tough.
But my favorite acting of yours is in the movie that I directed with you. You starred in The Hungry Ghost, in the scene, the psychiatrist scene with you, Paul Calder, and Emery Cohen. Yeah. And I thought your acting in that is just very real and intimate and honest. I love that. Yeah,
thank you. I love that scene. There's certain things you do. I loved working with. That was the only time I met Paul Calderon. I talked to him not long ago, but he's a wonderful actor. I mean, great acting teacher, and the scene was written so well. And Emery Cohen. I mean, that after you do a scene like that, you go, "That's why I became an actor."
Yeah.
You feel so good. The material was so good. The other actors were so good. And you go, it's hard to explain, but maybe not. Maybe even if there's a satisfaction there that you go, yeah, that is why I'm doing this. And I've gotten that quite a bit. I've been lucky to have scenes like that with people, actors that I like and respect on a lot of things I've done. And that's why you become an actor.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's nothing like it. When acting, when it's good, it's really good.
It's really good. And, obviously that movie that you wrote and directed, I enjoyed every moment of that.
I mean, when it's good, it's really good, meaning the experience of doing it. I don't mean like the.
No. But, it's just the material. It's just me. Sometimes it's just me and another actor, and it's just a great, great scene, this is why I'm doing it. I feel great. I remember I did a short film, A Poet, long ago. It was about a Pete Hamill short story. One of my favorite writers, Pete Hamill. And Bob Giraldi directed it. Big commercial director, nice guy. And I had, it was great, man. I just loved it. It was just a short film. It's out there, on YouTube, wherever. And it went to a lot of festivals. And Boris, I can't think of his last name, the actor that I worked against. Great actor. It was a beautiful scene. It was well written. I came home. I remember telling my wife, I said, if I could do this every day, I would feel great.
Yeah, I know. No doubt.
Now, of course, for my favorite scene of yours, one of them, I mean, there's so many, is the Pine Barrens, obviously. It was very funny. Yeah. You and Tony out in the woods. It was funny. The scene where I think you grab him and you tell him we're just, he's pulling rank on you, and you say we're just two fucking assholes out in the fucking woods, and the look on your face and the fucking veins popping out of your neck, and you're fucking freezing in the meantime, which it really was cold. I mean, that is a very memorable scene, obviously. I love this episode because I love that line where I love when you're explaining, when you're in the bed and you're explaining 3 o'clock and Mikey Palmisi, and I'm sure the audience feels exactly the same way as me. I'm there. I feel the way you describe it. And you're explaining to them, I'm there with you in hell, going to the bouncer. I see it all in front of me, how you describe it. And that's not easy to do.
Oh, that's good.
I see the bouncer. I see Mikey Palmisi playing dice in the Roman soldier. I see your father. I see it all.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're not bouncing off really a little bit with them, but this is a story you're telling. It's good shit. Really good stuff, Michael. I'm not just saying that.
Thanks.
Great stuff. I wish we would have, one thing I wish we would have had, we had a few small things on The Sopranos. We had scenes together, but we never had nothing heavy like that,
No, not really.
We had a couple good scenes in Stewie.
High Roller,
yeah. So thanks for listening. And remember, new episodes are released every Monday. Please subscribe to the Talking Sopranos podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And please like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Our executive producer is Jeff Sussman. Producer is Andy Verderon. Music was composed and performed by Elijah Amaton. You could hear more of Elijah's music and the band Zopa's music, which Elijah and I play in together, by clicking the links on TalkingSopranos.com. Our production crew includes Eric Desi, Bobby Hutch, Frank McKay, Ty Verderam, and Sierra Schirripa. Talking Sopranos is a Pod Jams production.
It was a great episode that you wrote. I look forward to, you did 4 more. And the name of your book again, The Perfume
Burned His Eyes, available
Burns His Eyes.
Wherever you get books.
All right, man. You take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you next week.
See you.